Alright, hello. Today I'm going to do a full tutorial on how to mod TheFactoryMustGrow, which is a really easy to mod game about building factories. First thing we're going to do is we're going to explain how the modding scene in this game works. If we head into this folder, which is where the game stores all the items, and there are other files or other JSON files that store all the recipes and all of the tiles in the game, which makes pretty much anything in the game customizable to your own intent for whatever you want to use it for. So first thing here is this. This is a custom string of text that I put into the game myself. What does this do? So let us go through one by one. The custom item that we'll be adding today is called raw tin, and subsequently also a tin ingot. So let us copy and paste this so we can also add our tin ingot here. So let's go through this one by one. The ID of the item, which is the item name that the game uses, not the one that's shown in game. We're gonna name this tin underscore ingot. There cannot be any spaces, and I suggest using underscores if you want to use a space. The item name in game is also going to be called tin ingot. Stack size, I'm going to keep as 16. And here, texture path, what does that mean? Assets, items, tutorial. So that is actually the path of the folder that I'm using to store my textures. If you go into here, then into items, right here is all the game's textures for the items. And in the tutorial folder, which is the folder that I added to store my own textures, which I recommend you do, make a folder to store your textures in. It's right here. It's going to be raw tin and tin ingots. Let's go back here. Assets, items, tutorial, raw underscore tin. Alright, so, but that's not correct obviously. So, I'm going to go back here. Right here, the item texture is tin underscore ingot.png. I'm going to go assets, items, tutorial, tin underscore ingot.png. Now we're going to save, hitting Control S. I suggest using Notepad++ or anything that's a lot easier to use other than the default Notepad, which is a lot harder to look at and a lot harder to use like this. Now let's launch the game to make sure that nothing's wrong. As you can see, the game launches. Let's quickly make a new world that we're just going to use for testing, and I'm going to show you how to give yourself modded items before you create a use for them in game. So if you hit F12 on your keyboard, this is the console. Alright, so we're gonna quit. So this part here is the type of console. Let us type help, which works like this. Let's do, for example, get underscore item and then raw underscore tin. Set success. Right here, this is what we just added, raw tin. So that just means that everything is working fine. You can go back. So we added 2 items so far, but we're gonna have to add a way to make the items obtainable. How are we gonna do that? So if we go into our files again, we're gonna head into game assets. We're gonna head into ores. This is the second thing that I'm gonna show you, is how to add custom ore domains. So again, just take any of these. You can copy it, go down, paste it in. Now we're gonna change the things. We want this to be called tin. The deposit texture, we're gonna actually take a deposit texture that's already in the game but unused, because fun fact, there are 2 unused ores in the game that all have their textures. So we're gonna use the germanium and we're just gonna rename it to tin just for the sake of this tutorial. We're gonna head into assets, entities, which is where all the entities are. You can change all of these too, by the way. Some of these don't actually get used in the game, but all of these are changeable as long as you name it the same thing. So if I wanted to, for example, change the blast furnace texture, you could do that yourself. We're gonna go into deposits, and right here we're just gonna rename this to tin.png. Entities, veins, here. Here, we're just gonna do that again. .png. Alright, nice. Now we're gonna go back here. Right here, where we copied it. We're gonna replace stone, which is what we just copied from, tin. The item that it drops is going to be raw underscore tin, and the hardness is how easy it breaks. Just for this, we're just going to make it, for example, 1, which will make it pretty much really easy to drop an item. Alright, so now if we launch our game, which we will launch our game in a second, but if we go into assets and then tiles, what I recommend doing when you're also developing is to make all of these tiles easier to run on to find your ores. And this is also how you add custom tiles, which we'll go over later. So if we make all of these at 4.0, That's just gonna make it easier for, not all of them, but if we make some of them at 4.0, it's gonna make it easier for us to run away or run around the area just to find what we need to find. Let's go back to here. Let's click into here. Alright, so if the game doesn't crash, let us make a classic world. We're gonna generate it. We're gonna wait a second for it to load. And when it loads, there shouldn't be any ore on the map, and we should be really fast. Great, so now this is what we just added. This is tin. As you can see, since the hardness is low, it breaks as soon as you click it once. Right here, tin ingots, or raw tin. But as you notice, picking up stones right now and making a furnace will not allow you to smelt this tin. As you can see here, if we head into structures, furnace, click there. If we place it on the furnace, you cannot smelt this yet. This is, even if I'm clicking, you can't put this into the furnace. It's not gonna work. So we're just gonna save to test later. We're gonna head into game assets and head into recipes. These are all of the machines in the game. First, we need to add a furnace recipe. Edit Notepad++. Again, same thing, to make your life easier, just copy one of these. Easy. So, our ingredient is raw_tin. Our result is tin_ingot. Also, you can make these as many as possible. You can make it take 5 raw tin to make 1, or you can make it take 1 raw tin to make 4. Let us do it at a 2:4 ratio. It requires 2 raw tin to make 4 tin ingots. And weight is just how fast it smelts. Let's just set this to 10 to make it smelt really fast. And then let us just relaunch the game. Alright, here, new game. So we'll actually gonna load this game. Alright, we're in. So let us just grab some wood for fuel. If we put this into the furnace with the tin, as you can see, for every 2 tin ingot bakes, it bakes 12 tin ingots. Easy. Now, what if we want to be able to use, for example, get item crusher. What if we want to use the crusher here? As you can see, obviously the tin ingot won't crush the tin ingot. What if you want to be able to turn a tin ingot back into raw tin? Let's save it. Let's leave it now. Let's do that. Again, you're gonna go into game assets, recipes, crusher, edit with Notepad++, or whatever you use. You could just use normal Notepad or whatever. Alright, we're gonna go here. Alright, same thing. Our ingredient is going to be tin ingot, and the result is going to be raw tin. Alright, let us just make it take, for example, 10. And the particle, you can change this to literally whatever. I'm gonna change this to the iron particle. You can also add your own particle textures, which is also in the assets file. We're gonna go here, we're gonna go into tutorial, we're gonna go into TheFactoryMustGrow. We're gonna click load game, and we're gonna load our game. Alright, now you can see we can crush the tin ingots back into raw tin, which would obviously allow you to duplicate tin, but that's not really important right now. This is just what we're doing here. Again, if we break this works exactly like before. You put in the tin, you put in the logs, and it cooks stuff. Easy. Now, something else that you need to take note of is that here, you put in 1 tin, it's still gonna make 4, because the thing with furnace recipes is that putting in multiple inputs doesn't really work well, and I think that's going to be fixed later, but I'm not sure. Alright, let us save, go to main menu, quit again. Now let's use some of the other machines. If we go to game assets recipes, let us, for example, add an anvil recipe. Go here, edit with Notepad++, same thing. We're gonna copy this, go down here. We're gonna go tin_ingot into iron plates, because I don't have a plate texture on hand right now. Okay, we're gonna save, we're gonna head back to tutorial, TheFactoryMustGrow, load here, play. Alright, quickly, get item anvil. Alright, right here. I place it, we're gonna right click it, we're gonna put it in and get in. Easy. Alright, save, go to main menu, quit. Now, there's a few more things that you can add, one of them being tiles. Same as usual, you put in your texture, and then you can change the name of it, and the walk speed, and whether or not you can actually walk on it. You can make other tiles that you can't walk on, like for example, right here, the water, you can't walk on it, and other stuff like that. Alright, let's go back. You can also change here, fuel weight. What this is this actually just changes how fuel works. So if I wanted to make logs a very efficient fuel source, that would work, or I could just add a completely new fuel source here. You just hit enter, you'd put in the name. If you want to make raw_tin a fuel and make it like that, that would work too, just fine. But we're not going to do that today, but that's how it works. Alright, again, we go into game assets, go to recipes. Now, all of these literally are exactly the same, which is what is so easy to make about this. Right here, recipes. Recipes here. This is the cook oven. What this does is this turns coal into cooking coal. Literally, all you do is you'd copy this, paste it in, and you'd make another recipe. Same with the woodworking machine. Here, it's literally the exact same as the other ones. The only thing that actually changes is the workbench, which this is kind of different because there's some more things that you can add with it. So let's paste this in. Let's go down. Go here. Let us make ingredient 1 raw tin. Ingredient 2, like that, iron_plate. Make it 1 of each. Alright, and let's make the result a tin ingot, for example. Or let's just make it, I don't know, what tools are there? Let's make it a hand_drill. Just hand_drill_2. Alright, easy. So, subcategory, you can add these yourself. Let us make it, let's just call it tutorial. That's category and subcategory we will go over, which is not really important. All you need to know is that I'll show you in game actually, it's easier to explain. Let's go in here, go game, go here. So if you see in our workbench now, you're gonna have this thing that's called tutorial, and you can make the hand drill with 1 raw tin and 1 iron plate. So if we just go back here, grab the raw tin, and I have a full inventory, so here we have the advanced hand drill. Also, hand drills are really broken depending on the weight, which something nice about hand drills is that if you want to make a long mod, you can actually just change the weight to whatever, and that will just change the amount of items that spew out. So right now, right here, since this is a really light thing, it's gonna spew out a bunch of items. But if this was something really hard, like for example, if we go to the zinc here, that's gonna take a lot less time to actually take one out. And you can also change how fast tools are, which I'll show you right now. Alright, so let's head into assets. No, sorry, game assets. Or here, you're gonna open the items.json. You're gonna scroll up. And here, hand drill 2. So let's change the damage to. Actually, let's do something else really quickly. Let us use the copper pickaxe, which is the starting pickaxe. Let's change the damage to let's change the damage to 50, and let's change it to only clicking control. This actually just changes the copper pickaxe, sorry, to a really good drill, which is something that you could do. You can also do the same thing with adding textures, with adding your own tools. Right here, play. Drop everything. Alright, so when we get _item, copper. Alright, right here. So now the copper pickaxe should work like a drill. Right there. I'm just holding click and it will spew atoms. This is all zinc and it all works as usual. Alright, there should be one last thing, it's that sounds. There is no real way to add sounds right now. From what I know, you can't really change the sounds of items. I'm gonna go back to tutorial, I'm gonna go back to game assets, I'm gonna go to recipes. Now we've already gone over all of these. Just to make sure, we've gone over all of these. If we head into assets, there's a few more things that you can change if you would like to. Any item is changeable. You don't need to really code to change these. For example, the splash text. Let's quickly change this. Let's write I'm making a tutorial splash text. Let's go back to tutorial, the game, and right here I'm making a tutorial splash text. That's pretty much all for modding this game. It is really easy. You do not need any coding knowledge. Literally just Control C, Control V, and then change all the items around, or you can write it yourself if you do know how to edit JSON files properly. And what's nicer is if you go into the internal folder, all of these .py files are also changeable. You can find the files for the furnaces, or for example, if you go into scripts, entities, go into item entity.py, I'm gonna edit this notepad++. If you go in here, if you do know Python, you can also write your own code like this, which is how you'd mod a normal game, but that's obviously not necessary to make a long mod. Thanks for watching, and I hope you can make something very nice in terms of modding. Something that I'd like to mention is that you should probably join the TheFactoryMustGrow's Discord, because it's a really good place to publish mods, and this is also where the developer puts all the new builds in the game in. And if you ever need help with your modding, it's really helpful to join the Discord, just so you're able to ask people who play the game and mod the game for help.